Okay, everybody, back by popular demand. Last program, I had my beautiful daughter-in-law, Carolyn Mithcum, on with me, and we talked about how God miraculously touched her after her second bout with breast cancer. How it had literally, it just really was trying to take over, but they had an all-night prayer vigil for her, and Carolyn and I dwelled on the scripture, lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. And we started saying, anybody that come in, how is she? I say, she's in recovery. And that's what I want you to say. I never thought about that, but my mom, Genevieve, told me. She said, Jackie, it says, if you lay hands on the sick, they're in recovery. So that if you don't know what to say and you don't want to say, just say, I'm recovering. And you can have someone pray for you. But anyway, I also told you how I prayed so many years about this girl. And God said, I'm going to do more than you can ask or think. And finally I couldn't think. And I said, God, give Jeff a Christian, only for him to marry Carolyn Christian. I said, oh, what a sense of humor. Aren't you glad that God has a sense of humor? But it's not funny. We are best friends, everything. It's not funny, but we are best friends. Are we not, Miss Carolyn?
We are, and it cracks me up. I mean, I'm blessed because Jeff being an only child, yes. I know your relationship was so tight. And I remember one time I came home, and it was a couple years ago, and I was sitting in bed after visiting you with the kids, and I couldn't sleep, and I started cracking up. And Jeff was like, what is so funny? And I said, you married your mother.
2 magpies. Oh, golly, we have so much fun. Hey, Carolyn, tell him. This is a funny story. This will show you how the Lord brings us all together. But you were in the airport, and because of my jobs and everything, and things that I just said, hey, my mom knows everybody.
Oh, yes.
Tell that story. This is funny.
That was funny. We were dating, and I think we were our first year dating, and we went up to Los Angeles. We were at school in Point Loma, and we went up to Los Angeles for the day. And we were in Famous Amos Cookies. And he kept telling me about you and what you did and how you knew all these people. And I was thinking, that's great. This is lovely. You know, he kind of is making how important you were so that maybe I would like him more. And yeah, so I was like, I already like you. It's okay. So we're in Famous Amos, and he has just told me that really you just about know everybody. And I was like, that's great. And he strikes up a conversation with a couple in the cookie store. And we find out they are from North Carolina. And you at the time lived in Virginia Beach. And so he says, do you know my mom? Like, oh, I'm in Los Angeles in a cookie store, and you're asking if you know his mom. And they said, well, what's her name? And he said, Jackie Mithcum. And at the time, you hadn't been remarried. And they said, oh, you're Jeffrey. And I went, she knows everybody. They said, we've been praying for you for years.
Yeah, I mean, and I think this was the Lord just bringing us all together as a family. Carolyn was telling me, I was really amazed that Michaela doesn't think of me like what?
A grandma.
No,
she doesn't. She thinks of you as one of her best friends.
Yeah, and I want to be her grandma. I love Michaela. Well, anyway, Jeff, let's talk a bit. As I said last week, Carolyn had this cancer bout, and she's in recovery. In fact, the doctor said, oh, we must have misdiagnosed. Thank God. I don't think he misdiagnosed. I think that God is still the same yesterday, today, and forever, and that we're witnessing a great miracle. Well, Jeff had to go and find more employment, maybe, and he got into photography.
Yeah.
I thought nothing of photography. I aim a camera, and there's no head. It's blurred. And Jeff says he's in photography. Well, I could not believe it. But also, Carolyn, last week I said how God had given me a scripture. It said, your son will be taught of the Lord. Great will be his peace and prosperity. And then also I marked in the Bible in 1978, it says, I and the children God have given me are for signs and wonders in Israel. So now I see this photography, and I start wondering. Tell me about this photography. It is beautiful. He's at MGM Gallery. He's at Bellagio. In fact, we have his Israel collection.
Yes, you do, right downstairs. He has a huge collection on Israel because of his love for Israel. And he has an amazing way of taking pictures in Israel that bring Israel to life. Because a lot of people, I think, have the impression that Israel is just a desert. And there is a lot of wonderful, amazing places in Israel that are beautiful.
And how did he frame this collection? This is miraculous, too. He's over in Israel. He was out on the Golan Heights. And does he see something rooting around, and he sees a frame or something?
He saw Syrian bunkers, and in the Syrian bunkers were little tiny windows, but in those windows were frames. And so as he was looking out at the frames, he thought, now that would make an amazing picture frame for the pictures of Israel, as if you are looking out of the bunker yourself.
And they're buried in the ground, as I understand. Is this correct? I'm sorry we don't have this whole story together. But he pulls them up, and that is when he thinks. Now, a Syrian bunker on the Golan Heights is where the Syrians were shooting down into Israel.
Yes.
But they got the land back, and now Jeff is out there finding these bunkers, and it is, it's miraculous. I remember one time Jeff called and he said, hey, Mom, I just took $1 million photo. I said, oh? I said, what's the name of it? And it was called Third Day.
Oh.
Now, when I was watching A.D., Roma Downey, and Mark, when Jesus comes up, raises from the dead, did you ever see that yet? I swear it looked just like the photo Jeff took.
Wow.
Yeah. So God gives him an amazing gift. He's at MGM. And the reason we're talking is recently Jeff got an exclusive job. What was it?
To photograph the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, to be in there in the arena. Yeah.
Manny
Pacquiao.
Yes. That's even hard to spell. So here we go again. What do? I go and Google. And I saw something, and I was kind of concerned because I thought maybe, I wasn't sure, his mother had jokingly done a video or done something about voodoo, and I thought, I better pray. We don't need any of this. And then I'm sitting at my desk, and I sent it to you. Do you remember? Maybe you haven't even gotten your emails yet, but I saw Manny Pacquiao. It was amazing. Do you remember anything about this? Tell me.
The interview. The interview
Yes.
is a phenomenal interview about who he was and how he started boxing when he was young. I think he was, 13 or 14, because he grew up in such poverty. He wanted to get out of that. And his life and how it transformed over the years and where he is today.
Yes, and then we're going to, Matt Crouch is a good friend of mine. I remember Arthur Blessett's movie.
Yeah.
We brought it into Louisville, and we all worked so hard. But Matt Crouch, I couldn't believe it. He got an exclusive interview with Manny, and the focus was where he had, from this poverty to total wealth, and how it can just draw you away from the Lord. And he has a wife and children, but one day this is all of that lifestyle just starts diminishing. And let's look at that clip, Carolyn. Here is Matt Crouch and Manny Pacquiao. Please tell your friends to watch this. I think it's going to encourage you today.
Well, 4 years ago, before that, my life is, I'm not really. It's like empty. Empty. My life is empty. Although I have money, I have, I can do whatever I want, but it's kind of empty in my heart. But there's a time come that, actually, I can say this: the Lord has changed my heart. The Lord changed my heart. My experience in life. This is I'm excited to share to everybody that I had experience to hear the voice of God, and when I hear the voice of God, I'm just like melting. I feel like dying.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how big the voice of God. And I was in the middle of the forest and kneeling and crying and asking for forgiveness to the Lord, and Lord, forgive me. And then there's a light, a very white light, and like a sun, a very white. And then I want to look up and look the light, but I cannot. I cannot raise my head.
Wow.
And I'm kneeling and bowing, face on the ground, and crying to the Lord, Lord, forgive me. And then after that, I hear the voice of God, and son, why you leave me? Why you keep away from me? Because on that time, I always, I love partying, gambling, womanizing, everything. But I'm always praying. I'm always praying, at least 5 times a day I'm praying, but I'm doing these things,
Wow.
but, when God changed my heart, I realized those things that, if I died 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to heaven.
Wow.
I'm going to hell.
Wow. Again, Manny, if anyone with a smartphone and Google can know many things about you, but you cannot find this information. The information that you were crying out to God,
Yeah.
that your heart really had never been changed, that you, in as much as you prayed, you really don't believe you were a Christian. So what brought you to that moment where you were crying out to God, you were weeping? What brought you to that point? Unpack that a little bit. We want to know more about that.
Before my birthday, turning 32, before my birthday, the desires in my heart is the Lord changed my heart. I mean, on that, there's a moment that I don't like this anymore. I don't like this one. I don't like this. Like you don't like to go to the bar, even to go to there. You don't like anymore. I don't like to talk about the girls that I'm communicating every day. I don't want to go to I hate to go to the gambling area. Yes, that's I can say. I really believe that only God can change our heart.
Yes.
Can change the person. So that's the moment that there's a conviction in my heart that pushing me to read the Bible.
Yeah.
Read the Bible, read the Bible, read the Bible. That's why. But on that time, how can I read the Bible? I'm ashamed to go to the bookstore to buy a Bible because buying the Bible, right? Some people they gonna shy to ashamed to buy a
Yeah.
Bible.
Yeah.
And then And then there's the moment, my birthday is coming. And there's a person who gave me a gift. Like, and then he said, I don't, I don't know if I know that guy. And then
Wow.
he gave it to me. Oh, I cannot attend your birthday because I have to leave. I'm going back to Manila. But I have a gift for you. Just give. And then say, I cannot attend your birthday. So in that moment, then I didn't mind. Oh, thank you. But I didn't open the gift. So put in the car, and when I get home at night, I open it. There's a gift. Okay, I go. It's Bible.
Wow.
It's a Bible.
Wow.
So imagine, bugas ba? It's a Bible. Then, wow. In my heart, there's a desire that, conviction that read the Bible.
Wow.
So on that moment, I read the Bible. First time I read the Bible, when I read the Bible, in that moment, I don't understand. I don't understand because I read all the names, names, a lot of names. Oh, what's it? I don't understand what's in the Bible. So just keep it. But the conviction is still there. Pause, read the Bible.
So that was a turning point in your life, really.
Yeah.
So again, when you sit with Manny Pacquiao, anybody can Google how many times you were a champion in your sport of boxing and how many times you've been elected now into politics, Congress. But this is what you're revealing, is that the real turning point in your life was a gift from someone that you're not even sure you know.
Yeah, yes. And he said, I'm just, asking. I told myself, I'm not inviting him in my birthday. Yes, so I'm sorry. I'm not. I cannot attend your birthday because I'm going to Manila. I'm going back to Manila, and
Where did this take place? Where was this gift exchange?
in my place in Jensen. So that's what happened.
Wasn't that great?
Amazing. And Jeff was blessed to be able to photograph that fight, and he also was around Pacquiao and his group quite a bit. And he said all he did was smile, and he was gracious, and he was kind. And he said, you have been faithful fans, and you have wanted this fight for a long time, and I'm glad that we could bring it to you. And his whole goal is to serve God, is to serve Jesus in everything that he does.
He's an evangelist
Very
now.
much, yeah.
I mean, here he is. He's just kind of, what would you say, desperate, just thinking, having everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he hears the voice of God.
Yeah.
It must have brought the fear of God on him, because he said he didn't even want to live. And the Lord he just fell and said, God, I'm sorry. And the Lord said, why did you forget me? If you're out there today, and please don't forget the Lord. We are in last days.
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
have you ever seen a shift in all of our beliefs and everything?
No, it's almost as if you wake up every day and something new is hit the news that you thought, I didn't think that was possible. But it's so neat of the Lord to chase after Pacquiao. It says the Lord goes after us, and he will stop at nothing to pursue us. And though Pacquiao had turned his back, the Lord never turned his back on him, and even went to such an extent to speak to him in the way that he did, in a loving way, to get his attention, and it did. And I liked what Pacquiao said about how now the cares of this world are nothing compared to the joy that he has with the Lord.
I know, and he is a congressman now.
Mm-hmm.
I heard on the news today, they were talking about the great peace that Pacquiao had at the fight. We got to pray for him. He hurt his shoulder, so we'll pray for him. But the great peace, he's giving his money to the poor, and he loves Israel.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, here are these two men there at MGM.
Yeah. It was like day and night.
Yeah, and the Lord has stirred their hearts towards our beloved Israel. I'm so excited. And let's see, Pacquiao said he grew up Catholic, but he loves Israel, he wanted to bless Israel, and now he wants to be an evangelist. And these are the kind of things we want to happen.
Absolutely.
I don't think very many people will ever realize what the Jesus movement meant. Time magazine, Carolyn, reported 25 million people
Wow.
accepted the Lord.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, we need to have that happen again.
And what did the Lord say? I can do more than you can ask or think. So if I can think 25, what can he do? And we were talking about our women's retreat. When I was praying, when Jeff was 10 years old, about you, Carolyn, never dawned on me. I never prayed, oh God, let us someday speak at a conference. And then I never prayed that my mom would live to be 100, and that you and I would go over and see her. And you were here a year ago and you saw her. And last night when you walked in, I have a little video of that. I hope we can get it up where she sees Carolyn. That was so great.
She's precious. I think of our lineage and it talks about a godly heritage. And I'm so thankful for your side of the family because that's what she has given. And one of my favorite things she'd always say is a happy heart is like good medicine.
That's what she always said about you.
Always. And I said, Genevieve, what's a happy heart? She said, good medicine.
I know, and I remember going over with Margie one time to see Mom. And I said, Jacob blessed all of his children. I think if you're there today, too, you need to think about this. Have you blessed your children? So, Mom, I said, Mom, what are you praying over me? I knew there was something I wanted, and we wrote it all down. And she prayed for almost everyone in the family. And I think, God, why is she living? She loves to live. She says, I still have a work to do. So a mother, and you as the mother of my grandchildren, Carolyn, I have to think what blessings I'm going to give you. I just can't bless you enough. And Jeffrey,
You already have. I have all the blessings I need. But remember when you asked Genevieve, she said, I'm ready. And you said, Mom, are you ready? Are you ready to go home to heaven? And she looked at you because you were getting her out of bed. And it's that if you want to go to heaven, we'll let you go. But if not, we love having you here. And she looked at you and said, I want to go tell people about Jesus. Get me in my wheelchair. I have a mission to do. And that's her mission. She always has had a passion and a heart for Jesus. And she would go when you would take her to the restaurants and pass out her Burning Hut tracts to everybody.
oh, I know, I get so upset.
I know. Do you want to read a story?
I'm hungry.
Do you want to read a story? Do you want to read a story? Yeah. And I'm not going to tell Grandma I don't want to read a story. No way.
Oh dear, I might have though. God forgive me. I mean, she loved her little burning hut.
Yes.
By the way, if you want a burning hut from Genevieve, here's my address. I'm going to send it to you. It is darling, and I think you'll just love it. Well, last night when we were there, we sang a little song. We took her, Carolyn, what do we call these? Hello.
Hello.
We go on a hello walk. If you have someone that's in a long-term care, go get them and take them around. Some people like sociability. One guy last night, Lawrence, he never speaks to anyone, and his family's there all the time. And Carolyn went over and put the derby hat. So you want to wear this? And that guy, we couldn't settle him down. I mean, he was smiling, and I was shocked. It was the Lord. So, as I close today, I ask you to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And Carolyn and I, together, are going to sing a little song till we close that we sang with Mom last night. And we travel along, singing a song, side by side. Thank you so much. God bless you all. See you next week.
James 5:16 says, "The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much." The Wailing Wall is reported to be the closest place to the heart of God. The Ark of the Covenant was here. For hundreds of years, people have prayed and written their prayer request on papers they have inserted into the wall. If you have a prayer request, High Adventure Ministries, Voice of Jerusalem, has people in Israel standing by to take your urgent needs to the Wailing Wall. A postcard will be mailed to you from Jerusalem. You can call 1-800-517-HOPE. That's 1-800-517-4673. High Adventure Ministries, Voice of Jerusalem, has planted trees in Jerusalem since 1975. These trees continue to grow among the trees we are still planting today. Be a part of fulfilling biblical prophecy by planting a tree in Israel in memory of your loved one for just $25. A beautiful certificate will be mailed to you from the Holy Land. Call 1-800-517-HOPE. That's 1-800-517-4673.
להיות החופשי